It is Thursday evening, June 16th. Camped out on some more National Forest land, which the name of it I do not recall. Passed the sign up there a little while ago, and it was like a two-part name, but I don't remember. I'll certainly look that up later. But anyhow, we are not too terribly far off the road. I don't know if the direction I'm facing there across the meadow, I don't know if you saw the car go through it just now or not. But yeah, it's the road up there. It's 140, heading over towards Crater Lake, and not too far out of a town. I think it was Lakeview, Oregon, is where I'd stopped and got gas and some snacks, I guess you'd say. So, but anyhow, we're up here on National Forest tonight. Got another pretty campsite here. Go and show a little bit of it. Got some big old pine trees mixed in up in there, and camping under decent sized pine tonight, which ought to keep the dew off pretty well. So, all right. So we did like 236 miles today, coming from Juntura, from that campsite that we had up in there, like 6 miles off the road on that gravel road. Man, I can't even think tonight. So anyhow, yeah. So we slept in. I guess for me that was sleeping in. We slept in till like 7:30 this morning, which again, like I said, is really it's sleeping in. I don't hardly ever sleep that late, but especially compared to yesterday morning. I never did mention that. Yesterday morning, I got up at like about 4:40, I guess, and had saddled Zeke, and we rolled off probably about 6 o'clock yesterday morning for that Arctic ride that I was telling you all about. Part of why it was so cold, of course, too. You know, I mean, just being that early. And two, before we even rolled out of that camping area, I had to walk around it for, I don't know, I'm thinking probably a good 20 minutes or so when I first got up, just because, you know, I was that cold and wanted to get warmed up a little bit before we rolled out. But again, that was, you know, obviously, again, just a great campsite. So, you know, again, walked around up in there in the dark with my headlamp on, and just kind of check things out. So that was pretty neat. Yeah, and two, you know, mentioning that cold yesterday, I was saying that to some of y'all that might not be that bad, but I didn't even say how cold. Down there in Idaho City yesterday morning when I, you know, finally got down there, and I was talking to the guy in the grocery store. I asked him about the temperature, and he had said it was like in the 30s yesterday morning. And so, which, you know, on a bike, that is pretty cold. It's pretty darn cold. I've heard before that a rule of thumb is like, you know, 20 degrees colder on a motorcycle. And I'm sure that's all, you know, about the speed and all that, of course. But as I've already said a few times, I guess that was pretty darn cold. But yeah, so back to today. Got up about 7:30. I think rolled out about 9, and we did go back to the Oasis Cafe, as I'd said, you know, last night that I would, and went in there and had a ginormous breakfast. Just like last night, you know, the fries and the big dog hot dog were huge. This morning I had the Juntura omelet, which the menu said, you know, everything but the kitchen sink. And yeah, it was huge, and that, and again the side of fried potatoes, and I had sourdough toast with it. And the whole plate, I heard her coming out, the waitress saying something to somebody, and she said something about with the with the plate it was 5 pounds, and I think she was talking about my breakfast, 5 pounds with the plate. And I'm a big guy, of course, and I've got a big appetite, but even for me that was it took some work to get it done and to get it down. But I have to admit, I ate the whole thing. I ate it all. Cleaned the plate even, for that matter, pretty well. So, but again, it was delicious, and I ended up being there, being in no hurry, knowing I wasn't going to go, really wasn't sure how far I was going to go, but I knew I wasn't planning on going all the way over to Crater Lake today. And Crater Lake was like 284 miles from there. So, yeah, like I said, no hurry, and end up being there for, I don't know, a good, probably at least 2.5 hours eating, and as always, charging and all that. But then finally did get on the road. Well, I talked to my parents this morning before I left, which was nice. And then I finally did get on the road. And however far out, I stopped. Well, yeah, it was about 32 miles out, I think, something like that. But I stopped at this gas station that was basically, gas station, carry out, a little bit of I think, might have even been an art gallery, because it was called something gallery, Ord's Gallery or something. But they just sold like just all kinds of stuff, some antiques, some turquoise jewelry, a bunch of different like just rocks and stones, geodes, and just all that stuff. I mean, this place was truly a unique stop. It had, just like I said, everything. I ended up buying, actually, I'm going to show it here. I mentioned last night too, my the gift from my family there in West Virginia, is who had given me the money card for the shirts, and I said I look forward to spending more of it. Well, I did buy. I bought a money. We'll call it. I can't really call it a wallet, and I'm definitely not going to call it a purse, but this little leather zipper deal here that I can keep my cash in. I'm already carrying a small one for my change, and then all my bills I just keep wadded up in my pocket, which probably not a good idea. I've always been concerned that I'm going to lose something, and I don't think I have, but it's a possibility that I have already lost a bill or two. But I think they'll be better off in there. So thanks again to the fam. I really appreciate it, and there's still more on that card, which once again I look forward to spending. And that's Aunt Julie and Uncle Mike, and again, Cousin Jenna and Cousin Roy, and little Abe. So yeah, so I stopped there though and got gas and bought the money holder, and bought some rocks. That area was Horny County, and he had these polished rocks that were from Horny County. So I bought a few of those. So, yeah, I did that, and then, eventually got back on the road. I was there, I'm going to say, probably getting close to 2 hours. Talked to my Uncle Cecil, which was nice. Then I called my friend, my dear friend Ann, who I'd said here a couple weeks ago about my friend passing away, as my friend Ron, and called his wife, though, Ann. And we had a really good talk for quite some time. So it was just such a blessing to speak with Ann. She's just such a great person, and just a positive outlook on life. I mean, she's 80 years old, but you would never know it. She just seems like she is a woman that is just full of life, and thankful to say, even losing Ron almost a year ago, she's coping, and seems like she's doing good, and I just thank the Lord that she is, and just certainly continue to pray for her, because we do miss Ron. We all miss Ron. So yeah, talked to her, and then again eventually got back on the road, and I'm trying to think. In between, I went past this place called Lake Albert, which I don't know what the deal is with it. I might have to look it up sometime. I did a decent amount of GoPro around it, but it almost, it looked pretty low, if not just about empty. The lake bed was white, like almost like it was salt or lime or whatever. I'm really not sure. It was weird. Like I said, there wasn't hardly any water in it, and it was white. So I'd be interested to know what's going on with Lake Albert. Um, let's see. I had a stretch of road that was ended up being 100 and almost 110 miles of no gas stations, and that is, I'm going to say, by far probably the biggest stretch that I've went without gas, or without a gas station. And there really wasn't hardly, for most of that, there wasn't hardly anything out there. It was truly just remote Oregon country, and it was neat. It was neat being out there in the sticks. Not much traffic, and it was it was a cool ride. But yeah, but too, thankfully though, as far as the gas goes, I made it in, back here at like I'd said, Lakeview is where the first gas station ended up being, and I was able to get in there. I was low, but I made it in there thankfully on the gas that was in the tank. And once again, I do still have my I've got my Rotopax gas can gallon on the side as well, if it should ever be needed. And thankfully as of yet I haven't needed it, but I think here soon, since I've been carrying it for a while, I think I do need to go ahead and put it in the tank and just mix it in with some fresh stuff, and go ahead and use it, and then refill it, and do that every so often, just because gas gets old, of course. Let's see, I'm trying to think what else. I mentioned how cold it was yesterday. Mentioned getting up early. Yeah, too, that yesterday, I was talking about being tired yesterday evening. Well, I'm tired I'm tired every evening, I guess. But yeah, that was, we got on the road at like 6, as I'd said, and we didn't roll into that campground last night. It was called Chucker. Like Chukar, I think is what it is, which is so that's the it's the name of a game bird, actually. But so anyhow, yeah, and we didn't get in there until about 8. So yeah, that was a long day, even though the miles weren't big or anything. It's just makes for a long day, and it's one of them things, just like kind of like nothing. Not woe is me. You can't feel bad for me. It's you don't feel bad for a kid who's on summer vacation and he's been playing outside all day, and he comes in the evening and he's absolutely wiped out. Or you spend the day at the beach, or at the pool or something, and those types of things just absolutely wipe you out. They do me anyhow. But again, definitely you don't feel bad for somebody who has spent their day like that. And like I said, for me, I mean, a day of riding and exploring and all that, I don't care how long the day is. I mean, it's a blessed, it's a good thing for sure. But it is tiring though. Really, talking to Ann today, she was saying, about she thought it would be exhausting. And yeah, I mean, I think exhausting is a perfect word for it. It is exhausting, but it's definitely a good exhausting. All right, I'm trying to think. Anything else? Wildlife. Oh yeah, I just mentioned. I said about the game bird, about the chucker, the name of that campground. Going up in there yesterday evening, I didn't mention this. There were 2 bobwhite quail just right off to the side of the gravel road, and they might have like just crossed the road, but when I saw them, they were just on the side. And I got up and saw them pretty close, which for me, I mean, that's a thrill. Being from Ohio, we had quail and pheasant wild back in the day, and we're talking like probably up until about, from what I understand, the blizzard of like 76 or 77 is what really put the hurtings on our upland game birds. Excuse me. And since then, there's hardly any wild pheasant, and there are quail. Over the years hunting, when I was like a kid, I would flush a covey of quail like every so often, like back in the I guess late 80s. yeah, right about then, I had a place where I would, again, occasionally, just there in the Xenia area where my folks live, where I'm from, I would flush quail every so often, but very, very seldomly. But the C2 last night along the road, that was, for me, that was a big thrill, man. They're a cool bird, and I take it that out here there must be a decent amount of them. Is the impression I get. The woman that owns the Oasis Cafe, where again, I ate last night and again this morning. She's got Irish setters. They have 3 Irish setters, and they're hunting dogs. They're bird dogs, and so I'm assuming they quail hunt and maybe pheasant. I didn't ask if pheasant was in the area, but I'm sure they're definitely quail hunting. And again, maybe chucker might be in the area as well. So trying to think what else. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but just speaking of birds, the birds are really, really singing here this evening. I'm going to turn this around again, show the